Hello everyone, my name is Nathan Faust and I would like to welcome you to a new series here on Wholeo-Awakening's YouTube channel called Qigong for the Seasons. Did you know that there are Qigong sets or mind-body movement sets that help us to deal with the seasons? Also, these movements are corresponding to specific organs in the body that also relate to emotions. That's TCM theory or traditional Chinese medicine theory. It is in my experience in teaching Tai Chi and other mind-body medicine practices that a lot of times the seasons have an adverse effect on our emotions. For example, we're currently in the winter season where I'm filming this, and usually people have the emotion of depression or sadness when we are entering into the winter season. You might see people in store a little bit more gloomy than other times of year because they're affected by the clouds and the snow and so on and so forth, and being cold. Also, so that's the emotional level, but also the seasons have an effect on our bodies. For example, we often get cold and our bodies get stiff and rigid, correct? When we're in the winter season. I'm picking on the winter season because that's where we are right now when I'm filming this in the United States. So it's very important, I think, to have specific mind-body practices that help us mitigate the effects of the seasons as well. So there's going to be four seasons of this show, and to correspond to the four seasons. There's going to be a winter set, there's going to be a spring set, there's going to be a summer set, and there's going to be a fall set. The winter set will primarily focus on body movements that help strengthen and massage, nurture the health of the kidneys and the adrenal glands. So for those of you who suffer from adrenal fatigue, or people who suffer from tiredness, or want to boost their fertility and things of that nature, you want to focus on the winter season. Season 1, winter, because that's going to help you with those issues after a period of time. For those of you who are suffering more from anger, or I would say anxiety, you should focus on the spring season, which would be season 2, the wood element. And then of course if you're having stomach kind of issues or any kind of fiery heart-like issues, if you will, then I would suggest that you focus on the season 3, which would be the summer season. And if you want to, and if you're suffering from asthma, like I was when I was a kiddo, then you want to focus on the fall and the stuff that we're going to be doing in the fall season for that. Each of those seasons has an emotion, like I said. Fear and worry and sadness, depression, wintertime. Anxious and anger, springtime, and so on and so forth. I'm going to, before each season, I'm going to explain to you guys which emotion affects that particular season so that you can begin to work on that. All right, so that's the brief little introduction to it. And what are we going to be doing? Well, we're going to do some Qigong movements, and also we're going to be doing some mindfulness training. You see, here's the big difference between this course and many of the other courses that you might find online. There's a lot of great Qigong courses online, a lot of amazing teachers out there. I love them dearly. I consider them like brothers or mentors or things of that nature. But here's what they do. They basically hand you a routine and you do it without talking more about the emotional and psychological, spiritual aspects of that particular routine. So they give you the routine, but they don't give you how you can apply that in your life, how you can strengthen yourself and strengthen the people around you. They don't talk about that very much, which I find very odd. A lot of them are not trained properly. I'm not degrading any teacher. I'm just saying most of them haven't had training in cognitive behavioral therapy, REBT, other psychological techniques. I've even trained in hypnosis, believe it or not, just because I was very curious. But a lot of that comes into play, and it will help you and strengthen you, and to help mitigate these emotions that rise from these seasons. So we're not only going to be focusing on body movements, mind-body connection movements, but we're also going to be looking at and learning some spiritual techniques, emotional techniques that helps you get a grip on your psycho-emotional self. So when something begins to rise within you, like a negative feeling, you'll be able to swat it down or play whack-a-mole with your emotion. The negative emotion will rise up, you'll be able to whack it down. Simple as that, which is really fun, by the way. You should try whack-a-mole. But it's very essential when we practice these Qigong psycho-spiritual techniques that we do them every single day. We don't skip a day, okay? And that means if you even have to abbreviate your time sometimes, say for example Sunday, you're about to go to church or you're about to go someplace, and when you're doing these exercises, these meditation, if you want to call it that, it's actually mindfulness techniques where you sit there and do some deep breathing exercises and kind of calm yourself down a little bit. You might have to just do one or two techniques for that day, and they'll help you tremendously. But if you have something going on in the morning, you have a meeting or so on and so forth, you may have to abbreviate the time. That's fine, that's good. Go ahead and abbreviate it if you want. But the point is, you must do this every single day. You have to make it a habit. You have to do this every single day. Because what you're doing and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be rewiring our brain. Put it simply. I'm not going to use any of those neuroplasticity or any of those big words, so don't worry about that. We're going to be rewiring our brain, and that takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of effort. So it's very important that we work on this every single day so that, number one, we can establish the habit, and number two, we can be successful, because it takes a lot of work to rewire our brain and to break our habits. Ultimately, with this course, if you piece it all together, you'll be able to break your limited thinking. What I mean by that is your negative self-talk. You're going to be able to emerge, I hope, as a more happier, loving, peaceful person, which is absolutely essential in this life if you want to make a great impact on the world at large. You know, I believe it was somebody, this is a paraphrase of what someone said, I believe it was Dolly Parton, the great country singer, who said, if somebody doesn't have a smile, give them yours. I think that's what she said. That's a good paraphrase. That's a good quote. It's paraphrased on my part. If somebody does not have a smile, give them yours. Meaning smile at them. And that one smile will cause a ripple effect through the world. Believe it or not, everything that we are, everything that we see, everything that I'm doing now, everything is vibrations. I like to think of the world like water, and you're skipping the stone on the water, right? You're skipping stones on the water, pew, 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 like that. And every time that rock hits the water, there's that little ripple, ripple, ripple. That is how the world works. If you want to see change in the world, you have to be that change. You have to change yourself. And one of the keys is to start smiling at people and showing goodwill to them. And that's one major aspect I believe you're going to gain from this course. Like I said, it takes time, especially if you had some kind of trauma or very negative experiences with people. Somebody cheated you in a relationship and so forth. It's going to take time to come out of your shell. But I think with these mind-body practices and these breathing exercises and these mindfulness exercises and these psychological techniques that I'm going to be introducing you to, I believe that you are going to go through a tremendous transformation. I know I did, and I know you can too. So, that brings me to my third point in this introduction, and that is don't rush, okay? Do not rush. This is going to be a very lengthy series. Don't rush. Don't bite off more than you can chew. For example, when we go through the routines, the mind connection, bodily routines, just do 1 or 2 or 3 minutes, or just do that routine for a week, okay? There's going to be multiple routines for each season, and then there's going to be multiple techniques for the psycho-spiritual techniques as well, like what I call them, that you do. Make sure you do not bite off more than you can chew. This course is going to be on YouTube for free, okay? For free. And it's always going to be there as long as we're around and as long as YouTube is around, which I don't see YouTube going anytime soon. It's going to be there. So always refer back to it. So that's the third. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Number 4, more about the structure of the program. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be giving a topic, and then I'm going to be giving some Qigong work, some mind-body connection work, and I'm going to be giving some kind of psycho-spiritual emotional technique from psychology that I have learned, and giving that to you, and you are going to be practicing those 2 techniques, or those 2 things, that form and that technique. So for example, one of the techniques, one of the topics that we're going to be going through is mind-body connection in wintertime. And I'm going to be giving you some physical techniques, and I'm going to be giving you some emotional techniques, some heart techniques. Not physical heart techniques, but emotional techniques as well that will help you with your emotions and your psycho-spiritual network. So that's how we're going to be doing this. Okay, and I think that's it for this introduction. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, then please leave a comment below. And remember, this course is free, so please take full advantage of it and do it. This is an introduction course, so this is a course that's very good to do if you want to get your feet wet before you go on to some of our more advanced courses, which are paid for and which you can find on Patreon as well. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. And remember to always stay in your heart.